All right, real quick before we get to the video, when I was editing this, I discovered that I should really take a quick second to explain housing levels, what they are, and how they work. It'll make a lot more sense watching the rest of the video when I talk about this block is made around a common residence, etc. So what does that mean? A common residence and beyond is the first block that requires a 2x2 set of housing. Doesn't mean it will not work for anything below it. Of course it will, but it will not work for a 3x3 or beyond. It is set for a 2x2 housing block. So what is required for a common residence is very easily acceptable in pretty much any mission for the most part. We have water supply, market, access to one god, 30 entertainment, physician, courthouse, scribal school, one type of food, pottery, and beer. Most missions you can make that requirement, and if not, it typically doesn't require a whole lot of population to begin with. Now, as you move up, this block can easily support spacious residence, elegant residence, and fancy residence. So the difference between a common and a spacious is a dentist and two types of food. That's the big one right there, is the two types of food. Is if your map can support it or you can import it, you can easily move up. Now, the moving between spacious to elegant is the same thing with a dentist and two types of food, but now it requires linen and also requires slightly more entertainment points. Now, moving from the elegant to the fancy, it requires slightly more entertainment points, everything else before, but it requires two gods. So all that means is that you'd have to knock out two sets of housing, basically two sets of 2x2 housing, so 8 housings total, to bring that up to a fancy residence. And in the place on that one block, you could add shrines or something like that. So I hope that makes it a little more easy to understand. Now, when you're looking into a 3x3, a common manor, spacious manor, elegant manor, and safely manor, why wouldn't you want to go that far? Why doesn't this block support it? Well, it doesn't support it because those require a 3x3 set of housing plus a very much longer list set of things, and it keeps getting bigger. The biggest difference between a set of 3x3 housing and beyond and anything below that is that whenever a house evolves into a 3x3, they no longer contribute to the workforce. They are what's known as scribes. They pay a lot more in taxes, but it allows you to have a city of 7,000, 8,000, etc. without having just massive unemployment. A video detailing the 3x3 housing and stuff will have to come later. Now that we've gone ahead and talked about all this, let's go ahead and get back to the video. Hello and welcome back everybody to Pharaoh A New Era. In this video, I want to go ahead and demonstrate my housing block that I use in my Let's Play series. It's about a common residence housing block. It can hold about 3,000 something people. So I'm going to go ahead and show the housing block off. I'm going to show how I put everything down. Once again, this isn't like in the exact order. You obviously don't put all the services in the very beginning kind of thing. If you want to, see that, you can definitely see it in my Let's Play series, how I kind of add things to it as I go. And then after that, I'm going to show how I like to set up my production and supply to it. And then finally, towards the end of that, I'll talk about some other little things about that. So if you just want to see the setup, that's it. We'll go ahead and get into that right now. So first, I'm just going to clear all this. Normally, you wouldn't do that, of course. With this setting, you either go, since Pharaoh runs on a grid, it's an X. You either go like top left to bottom right or top right to bottom left. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go top left to bottom right, kind of this way right here. And one of these directions does have to touch grass, okay? You do need to have a water carrier. So one corner, one piece of this has to touch grass, okay? So we'll go ahead and just start about right here. We're going to throw down 8. Then we're going to go over. We're going to go up 17. Okay? We're going to go back down 8. And then back down 17. None of these roads are overlapping, okay? So at this point, you need to decide where you want your entrance. Basically, where do you want your supply and everything to be? And where do you want your entertainment? So if this is going to be my entrance to my town right here, okay, this one right here, I'm just going to put one right there to show. That means I'm going to put my bazaars here because I'm going to have all my supplies over here, which means your entertainment has to be catty corner to this, okay? So we're going to put our entertainment up here. We're going to start at the corner, go down 2. So this is technically what you could call the third one. So corner is 1, 2, and 3. Go over. We're going to go up 5. And then go down 1 here, and then we're going to go across 3. All right? We're going to do the same over here, down 3. All right? Up 5, and then over 3. All right? And what that does is it allows you to place a roadblock right here, and then put a pavilion down there and a pavilion down there. Now, why do we put 2 pavilions there? Your entertainment, which will be down here, as they come in, they will take the path of the shortest path to where they're going. So the ones that will come in will go to the right and come up here. And the ones that will go into the left will go this way. Because not just the pavilions give entertainment, the workers passing by also provide entertainment. And that is plenty enough to evolve. And that's why it's key to have this direction like it is. Whether you have your entrance here and your exit there, if you were to do it here, you would do it, if you did it on the right side, you'd do it on the left side, etc., etc. Okay? And of course, this can be inverted and flipped and all the other things. All right, now that we've determined this is going to be over here, let's go ahead and throw in all of our services. Police station, firehouse, architect's post. If you're on a mission that has reeds, you'll need an apothecary, which goes there. If you don't have reeds, you don't need an apothecary, and you can put a dentist. I wouldn't put a dentist in the beginning. I would do it later, okay? Building up next, let's go ahead and put in our services, just so everybody gets a good idea of what this is going to look like. You need 2 bazaars, okay? 2 bazaars to fill this many people. You can't get by with one because this is going to be 3,000 something people. It can cost 3,500 roughly. All right, after that, next up is going to be the physician. And then after that is the deity. You can just use whatever deity you want. I usually go with the patron. All right, so that's our initial thing right there. Let's go ahead and put water in. So if you go right next to the bazaar here and then across, and put it there, okay? You could also technically put the scribal school there and the water there. It just depends on your setup. I usually recommend, I have mine this way, but that's up to you. On the other side, let me put this down. Don't mind that. We just need to put that there for, so we can put down tax collector. The same thing on the other side. Opposite of that is going to be the tax collector. Okay, let's start putting in houses. Over here, it's going to follow basically the same pattern. 1, 2, 3. 3 sets. When I say a set of housing is a 2x2 because that's what it'll evolve into. Later on, you'll get 3x3 housing, but this block is not made for that. And then over here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you might have already guessed, on the other side here is a 3x3 is a courthouse. And then we'll fill back this in over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And then we'll put the scribal school here so everybody can kind of see how that goes. All right. Let's throw in the pavilions as well, just so people can have a full view of what this should look like. All right. So right here, we're going to go 2, 2. I'm sorry, 1, 1, and then 1 right there. So that's 3 sets of housing. It's very important that it ends up this way. If not, it'll throw the whole thing off. And then up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you'll have this little corner right here. Over here, 1, 2, 3 yet again, because this will evolve into 2x2, and I'll have a range from this corner. Now at this point, there is 1 odd space out, which means somewhere on this line over here, which is opposite of your entertainment, you have 1 extra space. So you could put a road right here. You could put a road right here. Okay? Or you don't have to put anything there. Say you could leave that space there and put a dentist or something. I'm going to go ahead and put a road there because I like to build like a temple alley on the backside of my housing just to have a place to put it and it looks nice instead of temples way out in the desert. It's up to you. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you did everything right, it should all be even along the bottom here, as you can see. So pretty early, they're going to ask about desirability. That's what this in the center is for. Right here. You can usually get by in the very beginning with just a single line of gardens, but you can evolve. You always want to later on bring that into 2. Just go ahead and do that just for sakes. Yes, I know. Which is another reason why you don't fully build this out like that. You will run out of money. All right, as you can see here, it's basically surrounded by gardens. You don't need to fill in the corners over here. You can do 1 more garden right here, and then it looks nice. You could also put a large statue there. So, okay, guys. That basically is just the initial setup for this housing unit, okay? The point... Oh, we missed the roadblock. The point of this is it keeps all the workers, it keeps everything here in this central loop while providing all services. Now, if I didn't want, like, say I didn't want this to evolve too much, I could tell the bazaars, okay, don't buy pottery or don't buy beer, okay? If I could get rid of the courthouse and say, okay, when you can't evolve past the courthouse stage. I can get rid of the scribal school. You can't evolve past the scribal school stage. So it really helps you control your population. It also helps your houses evolve into a certain way and stay evolved and won't flicker evolve to where they go down and up because they're running out of resources kind of thing. And of course, later on, you can plaza all this. It's very expensive, but that'll provide even more desirability. You could also stagger these gardens with large statues, spaced out about 5 blocks per. So you get probably about 3 or 4 in there. And that really provides a big bonus. But for what this is perfectly fine how it is, as long as you don't have like really bad production things right next to it. So, okay, that does it for the housing portion of this. Or the housing block portion on how this is set up. Next, we're going to move into how I set up my production line, how I like to kind of keep things organized down here. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Let's keep going. All right, moving on to production and distribution of all of this up here. First off is you always want to, of course, have these gardens here that prevent that. But if you wanted, you can add 1 extra space in case you choose later on to add large statues here and space them out. So I usually do skip 1 extra, so there'll be a empty line of grass in between where all this will start. So we'll go ahead and first go down 6 because we want our inside to be 4. So it's down 6, and then we're going to go across 9, back down, close that loop up. So counting the inside of it, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. And then we'll do that again on the wrong place right there. Let's go ahead and do that again, down across 9. And then connect those. And then put our roadblocks in there, okay? So if you are doing any type of Nile farming or anything, you want more than 1 granary to store all this, because Nile farming comes once a year, meadow farming's twice a year, kind of like that. So, but if you're just hunting, you can get by with just 1 granary. But we'll go ahead and just put 2 in, because that's kind of the normal case, and have those in there, okay? So our next line down here is going to be the exact same, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Connect those up. So it should be 4 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make sure that part's right. This center road here is just for ease of access. It's not required, but if there's like a fire, if something happens, if a worker needs to go from this corner to here, he doesn't have to go all the way around. They can just walk through the center lines. It's just aesthetic. It extends the block by 1. Totally not required, though. And then we'll do 1 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Count those out. All right, now let's roadblock this up. Wrong. So we don't want anybody to actually walk across this center block like normal. It is just there. As the workers walk around these 2 side blocks, they will, of course, get the middle as well. So you can see here. So this one is 1 single loop. This is a supporting loop, and then another loop, okay? So what would you do with something like this? Well, let's just say we wanted hunters. You could add all your hunters here. That's a lot, but there's 8. You can get 8 per, okay? Now, I usually will set up my supplies for these cities right here. So it's like 1, 2, 3. So like this top one would be pottery. This next one would be beer. This next one, you could half it, like half papyrus, half linen kind of thing, because you don't typically require a lot. Jewelry, etc., depending on what you need. And then when you build these up over here, like say as well, say this is where you wanted your clay to be made at. If you have a storage yard there for clay, just raw clay, and then put your potters in here, you want your raw supply to be close to your crafter. Because you got to think, when they're done, that cart pusher has plenty of time to get where they're going before the next resource is done. Assuming they're not taking it all the way across the map, they have plenty of time to do it. But this one supply center here has to provide all of these. There's only 1 cart pusher. So keep that in mind. That's why you always want these close to your supply of wherever you keep your raw resource. And you can just keep expanding it. Say we were going to do beer as well, you know, but we want, let's say 6 breweries even, or even 8 breweries, okay? And we had another one here. All right, so you can keep going with this as much as you need to. typically on the outsides, like over here, I would have put the hunters maybe in the middle. That way I could have another storage yard right here for a raw resource if I needed to. So you just got to adapt. I'm just giving you examples on how I set things up, but no mission follows this perfectly, okay? This is just to help you understand. And yes, these will get covered since this guy will walk here. Workers will work within a 2-tile radius, okay? So they will get your fire and coverage, as you can see here, because that is within the 2 tiles. So, okay. That basically sets up how I would relatively go about my production. Once again, every map is different, so just keep this in mind as a reference. But I'm very much, things need to be, as much as possible, hopefully, clean and neat and all that other stuff. It allows you to really bring up and bring down your resources. And over here as well, you can just keep tiling this, because see how everything comes out, and then it comes to a central line here, which is like a warehouse area, and then up in there. So, all right, guys, if you watch the housing part and you watch the production part, thanks for watching so far. I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit more of the nitty-gritty on why things are set up here. If you're not interested with that, I do appreciate you watching. If you're going to stick around, let's get going. The reason this loop is built the way it is certain things have positive and minuses to desirability. So like bazaars have a negative desirability right next to them, which is why there's no houses, which is why I didn't like put a bazaar, you know, like right here, because these houses next to them would have a pretty high negative desirability. Which is why it goes bazaar, a space for the physician, and then temple, and then all of these other guys here. These guys will suffer a little bit more from desirability, which is why sometimes I'll add a statue here. These guys over here on the top side, not so much. It's not really an issue. I like to have the scribal school close to my distribution because they do require a resource of papyrus to manufacture. So it can go up right here, whereas the taxes can just be, it's just collected. Another good thing about having a loop like this is 100% of your taxes are collected. 100% of your health coverage for all of your people. 100% of entertainment value as well. So those aren't little, those milestones that you have to reach, and your ratings are very easy to hit with something like this. Now, technically you can make this loop as short as you wanted. Like instead of going 17, you could go like 15 or 13 or anything like that. But going longer, you can create some issues to where your walkers. So like a architect has a 34 block walking distance total, okay? So 34. Can't even get that far. 31. All right. It's pretty long, right? Now, if you get to think, if they walk, so he walks out, comes around, and then he goes his 34. If it is quicker for him to go back the other way, if there's less steps behind him than in front of him, he will go back. Okay. So that's why this kind of, you can make this a little longer, but I don't really recommend it. You need to really keep an eye on it. Maybe add extra services in there as well. Plus you run the distance, excuse me, getting over being sick. Plus you run the issue of your entertainment people not coming in so much. Now this side road here, if you do use it, you need to make sure that there is no entertainment over there, because they have to come from down here. Okay. They have to come from wherever you want to put all this. Nope. So if you put it like right here or something like that, okay? It doesn't, it's probably not the best setup, but if you want to put it like right here, they need to come up relatively close. They also have a walking distance. If it's too far, they won't go. So you can't put them all the way on the other side of the city and have them walk all the way across. So let's see here. Anything else? Oh yeah, there is one extra space inside that you can put a shrine right there. You can also lay these will collapse, so you just can't put them anywhere else. And like I said, I do like to sometimes come out this way, and then if you wanted to, you could technically get rid of these gardens and add a really nice temple lane down this way to make it, you know, all you need for these is just an architect's post. That's it, because they won't burn because they're stone. So, and if you just pop that sucker right over here, like right there, he would walk this basically and come back. And that would serve the same purpose as gardens and make it really nice. It just usually will block your city, and I like to be able to see my houses just in case there's any issues. So I'd normally do it on the top side over there. A housing loop doesn't have to be necessarily a loop. It can be, another popular one is something, I'm not doing this for scale, okay? So don't tell me it's wrong. Yes, I know that. You'll see something like this, okay? Is that you have resources, services, and they'll come up and they'll walk around and go back. Now the problem is say if you had a firehouse right here, right? When he comes out, he has a 50% chance to go left or right. So if he goes down this way, goes back, comes back. All right, well, turns, goes back. Okay, comes out again, another 50% chance. So what if he does the same thing like 3 or 4 times? You run the risk of things over here burning. Whereas on a loop, he will always do one whole loop, no matter what. He will always do a loop. He will always do a loop. So things like this can work, really. Even a straight line technically would work. But it's just not the most efficient. Because you can, if you're way over here, this is the furthest that you'd have to go. And say if you like your water carrier doesn't make it around or something, your houses would completely devolve. And when they devolve, they'll lose those resources. And then they re-evolve, they have to buy new resources. And then if they flicker de-evolve again in a couple more minutes, it's just you're burning through resources that you could either sell or that you're having to produce regardless. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is just my take on a housing loop. There are many out there like it. This is just how I like to do it. And hopefully it gives you a frame of reference on how to create and manage your own. So once again, thanks for watching, guys. I think I'm going to work on explaining and understanding trading and how it works in this game, because it is finicky and it is slightly different than the original Pharaoh. So that one's going to be a pretty boring video. It's just going to be me talking and looking through menus. But if you're interested in trading and understanding, hopefully, the mechanics a little bit more, as much as all my testing has showed, please go ahead and check that one out. Thanks for watching.